Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, et spes nostra salve.
So, Canon, thank you so much for joining me today and for having me here at the beautiful Dome of Home on the Wirral. Could you please introduce yourself?
So I'm Canon Montjean. I'm priest of the Institute of Christ the King, Sovereign Priest, a society of apostolic life founded in 1990, based in Florence in Italy, a fantastic place called Greciano. And the Institute of Christ the King charism follows the spirituality of St. Francis de Sales as doctor of charity, of the love of God, Saint Benedict for the liturgy and the chant, and Saint Thomas Aquinas for the intellectual formation of our seminarians and priests. And so the Institute serves in various dioceses where bishops invite us for various missions under the charism of the Institute that is to say, the celebration of the what we used to call the extraordinary form of the Mass, and we answer the needs of in this area of the Church. And myself, I had the grace to arrive nearly 14 years ago on the Wirral in New Brighton, and I fully enjoy my pastoral ministry here. It's thriving. It's a wonderful place to be.
I'm very pleased to hear that, Canon. Being a Scouser myself, you're most welcome to our city. So as a Canon of the Institute, do you sing every day? Will you talk us through a musical day in the life of a Canon?
Yes, music is essential for us. And this is certainly rooted in the Benedictine touch of the Institute. And certainly we have a love for the liturgy, and we cannot conceive liturgy without chant. They always go together. And for us, daily by constitutions, we have to sing 4 offices together in our communities, in our churches. So Lauds in the morning, Sext at midday, and then Vespers and Compline at night. Due to the pastoral commitments we have and our various missions on day to day, we used to sing Lauds recto tono together here at this church, and Vespers and Compline at night, which is already a good commitment, but it's never been a burden. I've always found the chant more sort of relaxing. I always feel rested after the office than before.
That's beautiful. How do you find learning chant? Is it something that you started to learn at seminary?
I certainly did start at the seminary of Greciano when I entered a long time ago. I'd never studied music before, not seriously, only at school, but I was a French school, so they are not very good at teaching music, to be very honest. By the grace of God, in my family, we were always singing together in the car going on holidays with my parents. It was absolutely wonderful. So music was always there for us. But when I came to join the seminary, I started learning Gregorian chant properly. I found a beauty which I had never suspected, and a sense of harmony, because we have, at that time we were about 45 seminarians all singing together with in unison, with one voice, and all coming for all these various backgrounds, and the feeling of unity and harmony was intense, and also and therefore, as a consequence, it definitely fed my vocation.
Definitely. And I think Talking of this beauty, one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard is the singing of the Sisters Adorers. I remember the first time I heard them here at the Dome of Home. Is singing really important for the sisters as well?
I think it's yes, certainly as much as it is for the canons. The sister adorers are the female branch of the institute, but they keep the same spirituality. They treasure the same spirituality. I have to say, everybody has recognized that when the canons sing, it's different. When the sisters sing, it's nearly perfection. It's literally a one voice. And I don't know how they do that, but I can definitely say, because they've come to sing at the Dome here on several occasions, I can say that many people have been touched, moved, and converted because of the chant of the sisters. And I can give you names, which I'm not going to do now, but there's several people have converted.
That's marvellous.
Yes.
I know myself, hearing the sisters, I just couldn't believe the sound that they create. And as you say, it's almost like one voice. To sing is to pray twice. And do you think that singing and music then is essential for the Divine Liturgy?
Definitely, because it's the normative liturgy, as the norm of all liturgies in the Church, is the pontifical mass of the bishop. And therefore, it has to be as solemn as possible. So the music must be part of this normative mass. And all the masses we celebrate in our churches, or even the low mass, are not normative. So the music is part of the norm in the Catholic Church. So what happens without music, it's a sort of a secondary approach on the liturgy. And in the meantime, so the liturgy has got projects or transpires the hierarchy of the Church by itself. And secondly, of course, the music is most important because it feeds the spiritual life of the Church as well, the members. And the modality of the Gregorian chant is core. So in Gregorian chant, we've got identified 9 modes, and each mode has a certain color, a spiritual color, different from one from the other. Sometimes one mode could express sadness, another mode could express, it's called mystical, so it expresses eternity. One of the modes expresses grandeur and plenitude. The 5th mode, for instance, expresses solemnity, triumph. So each mode, Gregorian mode by itself, is a prayer because it triggers a supernatural string in your soul.
That's beautiful. I think if we have any modern day musicians watching as well, it's almost like our major and our minor keys, how they really do express different emotions. But I mean, modality is even more in-depth and even more beautiful than that.
Yes, because you don't need to artificially change your voice or the way you sing. Mm-hmm. The Gregorian chant would express by itself or from within the modality what we artificially try to express sometimes in more modern music. Mm-hmm. So that's the big difference, probably.
Definitely. Are there any specific examples where the liturgy highlights the importance of singing?
Well, I would say the summit of the liturgical year should be the best example, but this is my personal opinion and I can be challenged. No, I have no issue. But I sense that the liturgy of Good Friday, to me, is the full expression of the Gregorian chant And the best use of the Gregorian chant is there. Because, first of all, and no offense to organists, but there is no organ at the Passion of Christ. And you've got all this modality is extremely well presented in through the reproaches, the office of Tenebrae, the singing of the Passion with these three voices, Christ, the narrator, and the synagogue during the Passion. And so the drama is here by itself, and also because it's the most important day of the life of the church, because it's the day of our redemption. So you've got all of a sudden the Gregorian modality expresses the drama of the crucifixion, and the day after I would say the blow of joy for Easter, and this is the strength of the Gregorian music.
I remember my first Catholic Mass on Good Friday, and it was just absolutely...
Yes.
I don't even think I can describe it in words, but I completely understand what you mean. And you mentioned specific chant for that day. I didn't realise that we have different Mass settings for throughout the liturgical year. Is it important that we sing all of this different chant that we have?
Yes, it's a treasure. And I have to say, sadly, that it has been a little bit put aside for a number of decades, because people go for... They know the main Kyriales for Easter, and then Kyriale 8 and Kyriale 11, and a Kyriale for music for Lent or Advent. However, we've got plenty of choices, so we can go through all of them. However, each music for the liturgical season has got its own spiritual and liturgical color as well. But it's really important that we teach this different liturgical season music, Kyriale in particular. I have to say, here in this church, the choir is very good, they're excellent, and they have been learning and practicing very hard recently. And I have to say they can sing nearly every single Kyriale for every single liturgical season, which is quite a performance.
It's amazing. When I've been here at Mass and heard them singing every single week, it's more and more, and it's just absolutely beautiful to hear. Now, of course, the chant is in Latin. Why is it in Latin? Is that important that it is?
It must be. Yes, that's why I'm here. Yes, of course. Well, because the Latin by itself conveys multiple messages. Mm-hmm. The first one, of course, it conveys our history from the Roman culture, which is a world of organization, order, law, rules. This is the genius of the Roman culture. And also, the Latin conveys, on the other end of history, it conveys the mystery by itself, because it has become with some more mysterious for our generations. So it conveys the mystery of God somehow, and also it conveys the Latin by itself conveys the sense of eternity, because it doesn't change, it's always the same. So the Latin we use at Mass nowadays, in the 21st century, are the same words, never changed, with no alteration from the 4th century.
I think I found myself how, for example, I was working in Brazil not that long ago, and I went to Mass there on Sunday, and they were singing all of the chant in Latin. And even though I was so far away from home, I was part of that Mass, and it was just so beautiful to hear that and that connection that we have with people all around the world singing the chant in Latin and the Mass in Latin.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. And in relation to that, I've always been taught, whether I'm learning an opera song, a musical, an oratorio, that the words are so essential, they are paramount for our emotion, our phrasing, our structure. Is that the same in Gregorian chant? Is the Latin important for the structure of Gregorian chant?
Yes, it gives as I said, the color, the modality gives the color, and the Latin word gives the rhythm. And because the Latin words are structured on or the phrase is structured on dactyl and spondy, and so it's whether the words are grouped by 3 feet or 2 feet, and they alternate these 3 and 2 in the Latin word. So this technique has been used in poetry in the Roman culture, and we continue to use this balance, this rhythm of the Latin word in the Gregorian chant. So the Gregorian chant is modeled on these 3 feet and 2 feet words. And this is why we conduct the Gregorian chant in such a way.
And conducting of the Gregorian chant, I've never heard of this word before, is chironomy?
Yes.
Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about chironomy, please?
Yes, so chironomy I had to learn at the seminary because it's so different from the modern way to conduct a choir, of course. So the chironomy is a Greek word, chiros, the hand, and nomos is the norm, the rule. And so it's the way we conduct the choir with our hand. It means that the hand shows you exactly the volume you put in your chant and also the place of your first beat. So you've got, if you want to increase the volume, to go crescendo, your hand goes in loops like this, so vertical, so the choir. So it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. If it's 3, it goes to 1, 2. And if you want the choir to decrease the volume, so you go decrescendo, you go in waves. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. So conducting in Gregorian chant means that you have to anticipate what is the same word or the series of neumes, if it's 3 beats or 2 beats.
Oh, okay. That's something that's very new to me, especially being a modern musician in the modern world. But I think it ties in so beautifully with the Latin, and it's all about the flow of the text and how that informs how we sing it. Some of my personal favourite pieces of Gregorian chant are the beautiful Marian Antiphons.
Yes.
What place do they hold in the church, and why should we sing them?
Yes, I totally agree with you, for many reasons. So normally the Marian Antiphons are sung after the office of compline. So this is the only specific place where they must be sung. For the rest, we are free to sing them whenever we want. However, the place of they alternate, they are different, they vary according to the liturgical season. So the change of the Marian Antiphons gives you the spiritual color of the liturgy. So if I say it in simple words, our Blessed Virgin Mary is leading the liturgical season, because this is an indication of where you are in the liturgical year. And the second, the place at the end of Compline, which is probably a more personal thing. It's a feeling, sorry. And it's you end the day with Our Lady, under the mantle of Our Lady, so she would protect you.
It's beautiful. I think one of the first pieces of Gregorian chant I ever heard when I first started going to Catholic Mass was the Salve Regina, and it's always been so special for me ever since.
Yes.
But Canon, thank you once again for
My
chatting
pleasure.
with me. I really appreciate it. But just before I let you escape, could you please give me 3 words to describe sacred music in the traditional Latin Mass?
3 words. I would say first, history and culture. Second, unity and harmony. Well, that's 4 words, but they go together. And third, eternity.
Thank you, Canon.
God bless.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can learn more at Sophie Clarke Singer. And if you'd like to see more about the work of the Institute of Christ the King in New Brighton and the work of Canon Montjean, you can find that in the link which will be in the description below.